Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield.
All right, let's go, Springfield. Time to 10x your life, your business, all of it. Time to crush those goals. Time to get after it. Let's go. You are listening to the Elevate Springfield podcast. Robert Farrell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, here to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together we're going to elevate Springfield. We're coming to you again from beautiful downtown Springfield in the Big Dog Construction Studio. Hey, we've got so much going on in Springfield right now. Make sure you are participating. Get out there, network with folks, be a part of the community, support local businesses, support local nonprofits, and let's go. We can all grow together. So, hey, another great episode for you today. We're going to get right to our guest after the break. Hey, Springfield, when it comes to reliable, high-quality roofing, you don't want to leave things to chance. That's why you should reach out to Acosta Angeli Roofing, your local roofing expert, serving Springfield and surrounding communities. From quick, dependable repairs to full replacement, from residential to commercial, they are your trusted pros. Call them today at 217-993-2748 or visit their website to book your free quote and inspection. Don't wait. A little leak now could lead to major damage later. Trust the local experts, protect your home, and get peace of mind with Acosta Angeli Roofing. And we are back. Joining me in the studio today on a beautiful downtown Springfield day, we got Justin Knoedler from Bank of Springfield. Justin, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Appreciate you coming down today.
Oh, it's good to do it again. It's been a little while.
Yeah, it has been. Been a little bit now. But for our audience, we're going to talk about Bank of Springfield and everything. But first, let's have them learn a little bit about Justin. Tell us a little bit about your background, man.
Oh, wow. Well, I was born and raised right here in Springfield, so very passionate about my hometown. I know you talked to a lot of the kids earlier, saying the CEO about coming back to Springfield. And I always encourage them, spread your wings, get out, but you always got home, and this is home for me. And so went to Springfield High School. After that, I was a baseball player and a student athlete, so went on to play at Legen Community College for a couple of years, and then I went to Miami of Ohio for a couple of years, and then ended up playing 10 years of professional baseball. And that journey was awesome and amazing, and took me all over the country. And then those playing days came to an end. And when I got done playing ball, I started coaching and came back to my hometown and started helping out at Lincoln Land, and loved every bit of that, and coached some summer ball with a bunch of local talented kids, and then started a family. And I knew that the family life was not going to particularly allow me to be gone on a bus for, all weekend long and nights and all that stuff. So was fortunate enough to lean on my education and my connections and join the Bank of Springfield. And I've been there for about 9 years now.
There you go.
And it's been amazing. It's one of the best teams I've ever been a part of. So I went from baseball to banking, and I joke about it all the time that, my baseball career was great. Got a couple cups of coffee in the major leagues and made a lot of cool connections and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
I didn't make enough money to just sit around and play golf the rest of my life.
Sure,
So,
sure.
even though my job now with the bank allows me to play a lot of golf.
Right.
So,
a lot of charity fundraisers out there and everything, play golf at. So,
but I don't think that I would want to do that. What I do now with the bank is just amazing. I get to take care of a lot of our business customers and do some business development and anything else that I'm asked to do. So I'm kind of a little bit of jack of all trades at the bank, but it's awesome. And I love it. And I don't foresee myself doing anything else.
Right. So you said you have a great team at BOS, but what were some of the teams you were on when you were playing ball?
Yeah. So I originally got drafted by the San Francisco Giants, and they were the team that got me to the big leagues. And I spent 7 years in that organization. So from 2001 to 2007. So I got to be around the Barry Bonds circus, if you will, with the home run chase and, the steroid era and all the stuff. That was the main part of my career. And then when I became a free agent, I joined the Oakland Athletics and spent a year in their organization. And then I got passed around for a little bit. I was considered a veteran defensive catcher that could handle the bat a little bit. So I actually signed with the Cardinals in the spring of 2009. Went to spring training with them. Was rooming with David Freese and was around Yachty and Pujols, all the gang. And unfortunately, I was the odd man out. Big league teams typically only keep 2 catchers. They had some prospect guys, and so they had to release me the last day of spring training. I had spent the entire camp with them, and there just wasn't a spot for me to stick. I had a pretty good spring, so I was out of a job, and so I worked with my agent, got signed on with the Florida Marlins, spent a few months with them, and then I actually finished that year with the Chicago White Sox organization because they needed a catcher. And then my last year was in 2010. I signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that was a very cool experience for me. They brought a lot of guys to camp, but we're talking Manny Ramirez was around and Garrett Anderson, he actually just passed away. I don't know, a veteran guy, but Brad Ausmus and Russell Martin were the 2 catchers. And that whole spring training, those guys were banged up. They were hurt. I'm like, I'm gonna make this team. And we had Kershaw and you name it. And Joe Torre was the manager, and Don Mattingly was our bench coach. I mean, so we had some guys, and it was just incredible to be in that clubhouse and be around all those guys. And again, I had a pretty good spring. I was doing everything that I needed to do to stick. And because Ausmus and Russell Martin were both banged up, I'm like, here we go. Well, I swear to you that those guys took like a get well pill the day before spring training broke. And here I am, kind of the odd man out. Every organization has their prospects that they need to place in, AA, AAA and whatever. Yeah. And here I am, the veteran catcher that they kind of just use as an insurance policy in case somebody gets hurt. Well, so they didn't release me right away. I stuck around in the AAA camp, and believe it or not, so I'm playing in a game for the AAA camp, and I get plowed at home plate. Spring training game, you're not supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that in
spring training. Of course, they've changed the rules now. The Buster Posey rule. And so I ended up with a concussion that just knocked me down. And I had probably had some minor concussions throughout my career. Being a catcher, you get a lot of foul tips, and you get plowed, or this guy swings a bat around and clocks you upside the back of your head. And I just always kind of blew it off, not thinking nothing of it. But this one actually rang my bell, and nauseousness and sensitivity to light and all that stuff. So I stuck around the minor league spring training complex there for about a month, and just sitting in a dark room trying to recover. And it just dawned on me, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Nor should I, because the next one could really scramble.
Yeah.
So my wife flew out and she helped me get home. I had my truck out there. She drove me home, and I continued to recover back here in Springfield. And my agent called and said, how you feeling? This, that, and the other. And I said, I think I'm done. He had some teams call and want to sign me. The Dodgers granted me my release. And so that was the last time I played professionally. And so I just put my talks with my agent and my wife. And of course, I'm 30 years old at this time, so I'm not getting any younger. I'd gotten into pro ball at the age of 20. So it was a heck of a run, an unbelievable experience. And so that was my last time playing ball.
A lot of people out there probably don't think of that, with how much your body takes as a catcher. How many times you might get hit in the head and things like, you hear about concussions all the time in football and different things, but you don't really think about it in baseball as much, but you'd get a bunch of that as a catcher.
It really didn't get the light shown on it until Mike Matheny. So Mike Matheny, a lot of people around here know he was, he's a Cardinal, unbelievable defensive catcher, unbelievable guy. Well, he actually came to the Giants organization. I believe it was in 2005 or 2006. I can't remember. My years all get scrambled together. But he was the one who his career ended because of a concussion. And it was the double impact syndrome from a lot of foul tips. And that's when they started to make sure that every player was doing the concussion protocol. They were doing, the baseline impact testing, in spring training to make sure, they've got something to go off of if somebody does get hit with a pitch or gets collision at home plate or whatever the case may be. So it's a lot more prevalent now. Yeah, so
absolutely.
But yeah, the wear and tear in your body. I tell you, there's mornings I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like a 90-year-old man.
Feel it in the knees and everything.
Once I get going, but yeah, knees, hips, lower back. Yeah. Shoulders. And I try to keep myself in the best shape I can. It's not as easy chasing an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old around, but I want to make sure I can still chase them around. So I do what I can.
Right. So that Bonds year, which year was that when he was going for the?
So I believe he hit 73 in I think it was 02 or 03.
Okay, yeah,
So
that's what I was thinking.
my first year getting called up was 04. And so just being around him and he, he had not broken the career home run record yet, but the
Right.
73 year was early 2000s. And so just the way he went about his business, and he's a very different type of player, obviously. And in my opinion, he is the best player of all time. I mean, the guy had 20/10 vision and had unbelievable hands, and steroids or no steroids or whatever people want to believe, that guy could flat out play the game of baseball. And so it was very cool. My locker was pretty close to his. I never bothered Barry for anything. You just let him do his thing. If he said something to you, you shook your head and said thank you.
Sure.
But he just went about his business, and that's the kind of teammate he was. He was just going to do his job.
Right.
My last day in the Giants organization in 2006 was my last day in the big leagues with them. I never asked Barry for anything. I was around for 6 years. My locker literally was about 15, 20 feet from his 3 or 4 lockers. He basically had his own corridor,
Right.
and his big recliner and his TV and whatnot. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna kick myself if I don't at least get a ball signed by this guy.
Right.
I mean, he's gonna be best player of all time.
Yeah.
So I went over to his locker and I said, hey Barry, would you mind signing a bat and a ball for me? And I've told this story a million times, but I took one of my bats. It says Justin Knoedler, San Francisco Giants on it. And so I handed him the ball, and he signed the ball, and he handed it back to me. And I said, would you mind signing the bat for me too? And he kind of takes a look at it, and he goes, I'm not putting my name on your bat. That'd be an embarrassment. And I was like, okay, Barry, thanks a lot. And so I start to walk away. He goes, hold on. So I came back, and he goes, you guys are just trying to get all my stuff because you don't think I'm coming back next year. And he took one of his bats out, and he signed it.
Okay.
He signed it. He goes, what's your name again? And I said, well, my locker's been right there for 6 years. But,
the guy down the hall.
Yeah,
Down
and it was just on the bat that I handed him. He signed it to Justin. God bless Barry Bonds, and it was one of his signature bats. And so I still have that. And so the other cool thing Willie Mays was his godfather.
Yeah.
And Willie Mays was always around the clubhouse. He was
cool.
always around, and Willie was always great to just kind of talk to, and he was very cool about signing stuff. So
You said Bonds is your number one. Do you have a Mount Rushmore of ball players?
Oh my gosh. Well, nowadays I love watching the Judges and the Otanis now. In today's game, the Mike Trouts. Back when I played, I mean, you had gamers like Scott Rowland, and obviously Pujols has got to be up there. But when it comes to just hitting, Barry Bonds is head and shoulders above everybody else. Chipper Jones and a lot of those guys that I grew up, being around. But in today's game, it's the Otani and the Judge show. And obviously we got some local kids too. I've been following the Sam Ananachi kid,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
SHG kid. I mean, it's just cool to have another local kid that's making it and representing our community proud.
Super fun to see.
Oh,
isn't
it's
it?
awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. Love every bit of it.
So you were around all these super high achievers that are at the top of their game,
Yeah.
right? Top of their game. Anything you gleaned from them that these high achievers, these superstars do differently than everybody else?
Well, I tell you what, their focus, their work ethic is always strong. I mean, you would think that things came easy for Barry because he was so good. But I tell you what, that guy had his own special BP throwers. I mean, that guy would take more reps than anybody. And there's days where he's probably locked in and he's like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I don't have to overdo it. Albert Pujols. I remember when I was in spring training with the Cardinals down in Jupiter, we took a 3-hour bus trip up to Tampa to play the Yankees. And it's a long trip. It's a long day, but Albert made the trip, which a lot of veterans won't do in spring training because they just want to, conserve their energy. So we went on the trip. I don't think Albert had a great day at the plate that day. And so we get on them. We took a 3-hour bus ride home, and I'm not kidding you. That guy, it was 8 or 9 o'clock at night. That guy turned the lights on the batting cage and started hitting off of a tee.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, holy cow, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've been catching bullpens all day, warming guys up. Got to do it again tomorrow. And he went to the cage, turned the lights on, and went to the batting cage.
Just putting in the grind.
And I'm just like, that told me a lot right there. Like, he's one of the best hitters of all time. 2009, he was in his prime.
Uh-huh.
He didn't need to do that.
Right.
But he did it. So awesome. It was pretty cool. But yeah, the other thing I always joke about, I picked a hell of a career to join. There's 30 MLB teams and they keep 2 catchers each. So I'm trying to get one of 60 jobs in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I got to experience that, and it was just an amazing, amazing journey.
Yeah. And I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment. Like you said, to be in that realm, to be at the top of your game like that. That's just phenomenal.
Amazing.
So Are you excited for all the baseball stuff that's happening in Springfield here with the growth of the shoes and the women's pro baseball and all that stuff?
I tell you what, they were talking about it on 970 this morning, in San Madonia. I think they were actually there talking to the shoes people and trying to revive the Robin Roberts Stadium. But yeah, good for them. I am excited about that. Anything that brings excitement and activity to this community. We got the Shield Sports Complex that's been built, and we've been heavily involved with that since the beginning of time, it seems like. And
Right.
so we're excited that, everybody, the community, everybody at the bank is excited to see some positive momentum being built out there. Jamie Toole and, his wife and the team with the Lucky Horseshoes, good for them, because there's been many organizations in this community that have tried to do something out there, and it gets a little momentum and then it kind of gets stale, and these guys just keep going, and they're doing a heck of a job. So
Yeah, I think it's so cool that we're going to have a bubble league here.
Yeah.
Kind of back in COVID when they did the bubble league. We're going to have the bubble women's professional ball here in the fall. It's going to be
Well, I
pretty
tell you
cool.
what, last night I had 14 8-year-old girls at softball practice, and I would be ecstatic if one of those girls wanted to play in some type of professional softball or baseball.
Yeah.
Because coaching is my passion now. I really do love it, and I've got one speed, and it's probably a little too intense for 14 8-year-old girls, but hopefully they'll appreciate it someday.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about where you've coached and then your coaching stuff that you've done.
Man, so yeah, it really cut my teeth coaching at Lincoln Land when I got done. So when I got done playing, I was like, okay, what am I going to do?
Right.
And originally I was like, my brother was already working for Bank of Springfield, and he's my twin brother, and he is our CEO for the bank. And so talked with a bunch of other people, like what direction I want to go. And I was like, I don't know that I want to go put on a suit and tie and get into the business world.
Yeah.
And Ron Riggle, who was the AD and the head baseball coach out at Lincoln Land, welcomed me with open arms. Of course, I'm an alum of Lincoln Land. So I just started coaching out there, and I absolutely loved it. My wife and I, we were married, but no children yet. She was very flexible with me on, spending the weekend on the bus, being gone. And it was easy for me to do. And she was allowing me to do that, really. And, she was, very forgiving. So we, started coaching out there. I loved being in the trenches. I didn't know if I wanted to be a head coach or not, but I loved being in the trenches, throwing batting practice, helping a kid develop a swing, working with the catchers on how to call a game and, techniques of blocking and things like that. And that's still today what I love to do. I mean, if I'm coaching, I want to be in the trenches trying to demonstrate and do all those things. A little bit harder with the way my body feels sometimes.
Sure.
And I spent 6 seasons out there, helping Coach Riggle. We went to the national tournament a couple times.
Oh, cool.
And so and I even had a couple players that came through the Lincoln Land program that got drafted.
Mhm.
Your Ryan Apers and your Nick Matons. So that was even more rewarding. That not only was I helping kids move on to maybe a different university, but we had a couple of kids that got to go play professional baseball that I got to help develop. And I tell people all the time, I had probably 25 to 30 different coaches that helped mentor me, that helped mold me into who I became as a player. And I try to, when I'm teaching, hitting or just teaching anything about baseball, I was like, I don't know everything, but I've got to learn a lot from a lot of different people.
Mhm.
I got to listen to Pujols talk and Don Mattingly and, people from different generations. And I was like, I'm going to try to just, word vomit all of it onto you
Right.
and see if something sticks. But I tell them every day, it's like the best coach you're ever going to have is yourself, because you've got to feel when you're doing it right. You've got to commit to, certain things. It was awesome. And so I did that during the school year. So fall, we played a fall and a spring schedule out at Lincoln Land. It was a lot, but then in the summer, we got to do some recruiting. But I took a group of local high school kids, like a local all-star team, and formed our own team. And we traveled to all the universities, and it was a recruiting tool for me,
Sure.
but it was also an opportunity for some local kids to get some exposures. 2 different groups, 3 years apiece, and that was awesome. My wife even loved that, because again, we didn't have kids at the time. So, we're going to Columbus, Ohio, and we're going up to Ann Arbor.
Oh, traveling around, having fun.
We're going to
yeah.
all these big universities that even I hadn't played at, and so it was amazing. It was a lot of fun. And so now I do some private lessons on the side. I'm going to go hit with my nephew later. My nephew Colton Knoedler, he's a senior at Chatham Glenwood.
Okay.
He was the quarterback for the football team, but now he's the senior catcher. So when he needs a little tune up, he calls in Uncle Justin.
There you
and,
go.
We do a little batting practice just to get him feeling good.
Right.
So
No, that's got to be cool for the kids that you teach and everything. For you to have your experience already in the pros, but then also, like you said, being able to impart some of the knowledge that you learned from some of those legends in the game too. That has to give you so much authority, really.
Well,
with
it gives me a
with
little bit. It gives me a little bit of credibility,
Yeah.
and I'll have a dad or a mom call me and say, "Hey, my son's 6. Can you give him a lesson?" And I was like, "Okay, well, I can't do everything that I would want to do with
Sure.
obviously with a 6-year-old. It's more or less just like let's just see if we can get him in a stance correctly,
Right. Exactly.
and a
Exactly.
consistent stance. But I'm not afraid to always take a look at a kid and be honest with a parent, where I think they're at. But a lot of the time, they just need to practice on their own. A lot of these kids will show up for a lesson, and then I'll see them the following week or a couple weeks later. I'm like, okay, what have you done in the last 2 weeks since we met last?
Mhm.
Nothing.
Right.
And it's like, well, how good do you want to be?
Right.
Do you want to be good? Do you want to be great? You want to be the best? And I just flat out ask them, and I ask them in front of their parents, because they can spend all the money in the world on lessons, but it's not that lesson that's going to make them better. It's going to be the work that they commit to, when nobody's watching.
Right. Even like just what you said a few minutes ago with Pujols hitting hitting the cage at 9:00 at night or whatever that was when you guys got.
Yeah, the guy was. I mean, I don't know where he was at the time as far as his contract, but the guy was probably making $15 or $20 million a year,
Right.
and it's guaranteed. So
Right,
he
right.
didn't have to do that. He could have done it the next morning.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's been fun, and I still do a few lessons. As a matter of fact, when we had our daughter, I was like, you know what, I can't be half in, half out. So I had to give up coaching out at Lincoln Land, and
Sure.
it killed me. But it was good that I stepped away. As a new dad, and that's my number one job is to be a good husband and a good dad. And I definitely don't want to fall short there. But I would show up to a couple practices and try to help out, and it just felt like I was there when I could be there,
Mhm.
And so even though the players and the coaches still probably appreciated it, I was like, you know what, I got to be out. I
Right.
got to be out. I gave it up for a little while. I wasn't doing a whole lot of instruction, and then the last couple of years, I've been doing a few lessons for some of my coworkers' kids,
Yeah.
obviously my nephews,
Mhm.
and just try to work with them when I can. And then, my 5-year-old son, it's a little bit harder to teach him right now. I keep telling Colton every time I hit with him, I was like, at some point you're going to take over Brooks because
Right.
he's not wanting to listen to me.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So 9 years at BOS now? Is that
9 years.
9 years?
It'll
So
be 9 years this fall. Yeah, it's been incredible, and love it. Every day is a little bit different, but my main focus is to obviously maintain and take care of our current business customers, a lot of our larger relationships, and then find new ones. Work very closely with all the other departments at Bank of Springfield, so we're not just a one-trick shop. We try to be a one-stop shop for any business that has a banking need. So obviously, we can do accounts and cash management and all the online digital stuff, but we also have our own BOS insurance agency. We have an asset management team for any institutional investing, 401k benefit plans. We really do it all. And so, as you know, and you're in the business world, it's all about making that relationship, right? Make a good, strong relationship. Now, we're not perfect. We mess things up from time to time, but I tell you this, we're going to make it right. We're going
Right.
to fix it. We're going to make it right. And so it's awesome. We've really grown. We're up to 17 branches now. We're getting, we opened up in Champaign and Bloomington in the last couple of years, getting ready to open up a location in Kansas City. And so I get to be a part of all that growth and just take care of customers one at a time.
That's cool to see. You're going to have a Bank of Springfield in Kansas City.
Yep,
I love it.
BOS.
A
The
BOS in
yeah.
Kansas City.
Yeah, our brand is Bank with BOS.
Yeah.
And we start with people. If you talk to our senior management team, my brother, the Morantz family, they always invest in people. So when we expand to a new market, we've always grown organically, and it usually starts with an individual that we believe in, and we just give them the support and the reins to grow that market. We did it in Jacksonville. We've done it in Quincy. We've done it in the Metro East and the St. Louis market, and it's worked very well for us.
That's awesome. I love it. So what has been your roles over those 9 years? Have you been always in kind of what you're doing now, or has it shifted and changed over the last 9 years?
Great question. Pretty much, yes. I got thrown into the banking world, and it was basically like, okay, just see what you can stir up, see what you can drum up. I knew I could talk to people. I knew I could take care of people. I still learn things every day in the banking world. There's so many acronyms and ratios and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I sell myself on behalf of the bank. And that's what I started out doing. And now, I get to manage, a small team of business services support. a couple other business developers that try to do the same thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much. I mean, and I joke too, when I'm, especially like if I'm on the radio with Sam Adonia will be like, oh, hey, remind everybody what you do at the bank. And I said, whatever my brother tells me to.
Right. Yep.
And so, and I couldn't ask to work for a better leadership team. Obviously, my brother is our CEO, Mike Pence is our president. Tom Morantz is still the chairman of our holding company, but he has since moved away from some of the day-to-day stuff. But I tell you what, the family culture that we build at the bank is just incredible. And we're only as good as our team camaraderie and our team chemistry. And we feel like we do a pretty good job at that.
Got to ask, did you give Pujols a shout and say, hey, you need anybody to manage that $200 million contract or whatever, however many million contract that was?
I was so sad. I was so sad to see him go out to California, and obviously everybody's going to do what's best for their family. And I think it was more than just the money. I think there was, some family dynamic there, but I'm glad he came back and retired as a Cardinal.
Yeah.
I mean, that was awesome. But, another great guy. I mean, that you want to talk about being a good teammate and, talk about something that I've learned from baseball to banking. I tell my young staff when we're doing an evaluation with them at the end of the year, it's like, remember, the best thing you can be is the best teammate. You don't have to be the best producer, the best customer service representative we have. Just be the best teammate you can be, and it'll all take care of itself. And Pujols was the best teammate. He didn't care who you are. And I compare this, and I don't want to bash on anybody, but if you walked by Barry Bonds in the clubhouse and you say, hey, good morning, Barry, he might give you a little head nod or acknowledge. But you walk by Pujols or even Manny Ramirez. I mean, I put these guys on the same level.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning, Manny. Good morning, Albert. And they'd give you a hug, and they didn't know who I was.
Right.
I mean, I was the third string catcher that was around half the time or sometimes. And so that's I took that away. You can always be a good teammate. It's always be a great teammate.
Absolutely. Well, you're just talking about the evaluations for maybe some of your folks. Walk us through that process. What do you got? What do you evaluate your folks on?
So mid-year evaluations, end of the year evaluations, we try to set goals. Me personally, like I've never been driven by goals. I just wake up every day, be like, all right, I'm gonna have the best Thursday that I can have today.
Sure.
But we'll set some goals, especially for the younger kids that are just getting into banking. Obviously, we want to try to enhance their just banking knowledge, because that's something still. I'll sit in a meeting someday and somebody will say this word or this acronym. I'm like, what is that? So that's always a big goal, is just continue to enhance their banking knowledge. Maybe get involved with a different department just so that you can be dangerous enough to know what they do. Maybe there are some production goals that we have to talk about, whether it's accounts or whatever the case may be. We're real big on customer service. You have to provide excellent customer service in our industry. Obviously, we joke all the time. You drive up and down Wabash Avenue, and there's plenty of options.
Yeah.
In the community banking world,
there's out there. Yeah.
Options. So we have to stick out. We've got to be the best. So those are just some high level highlights that we try to evaluate our staff on. The other big thing is we want all of our employees, and I think we're up to around 350 employees. We want them involved in the community. I see you and Jeff Dillman. I mean, I envy you guys. I see you guys on. I feel like I'm not doing enough, but we try to encourage all of our employees to get involved in some capacity with something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
I don't want to force them to get involved with, for example, local first if they're not passionate about it.
Right.
But find something that you are passionate about it and get involved. So that's another big part of our evaluation process is, what are you doing out in the community?
You said you kind of grow through your people. Do you guys have processes for them to be able to grow and move into other positions and everything? Upward mobility through the company?
Yeah, we want to know how they envision themselves. Where do they see themselves in 3 years, 5 years, those time frames, and find out what they're truly interested in. One thing that the bank tries to commit to is that we try to think that all of our people are going to stay with us forever. We know that's not the case,
Right.
but we want to know what they're passionate about, right? Maybe they joined us as a retail teller. Well, we know they're not going to stay in that teller line forever. So we give them the opportunity to shadow other departments. We have a manager trainee program that we'll put some of our staff into. And sometimes it's a 6 to 9 week program, and sometimes it's customized based on, the individual's experience, just to go around and shadow the entire bank. And then we say at the end of the program, well, what'd you like? What didn't you like? So that we can start to build some type of a path for them. The other thing that I think is amazing, and I don't know how many other organizations do this, but we do a mentor-mentee program internally at the bank. And so we do a survey, and we ask all the questions to find out what the best matches are. And this year we've got the best turnout I think we've had. I think we've got like 30 plus matches.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I've participated almost every year. I missed 1 year. since I've joined the bank. But I started as a mentee, and my first mentor was a guy by the name of Lynn Bandy, and he is our COO.
Mhm.
And Jason told me when I got matched, I said, I don't want to work in operations. Like that sounds like, but he goes, Lynn's been with us for almost 40 years. He goes, there's not a single person in this bank that has more knowledge than
Sure.
that guy. And it was the best thing ever. And so that was the only year that I served as a mentee. I immediately moved into a mentor. It's just kind of what I do naturally. So this year I've got a young man by the name of Caleb, and he is in our investment arm. But he's young and he needs to learn how to network and build relationships. And so that's going to be our focus. And our first meeting is actually next week.
Oh,
so
there you go.
He's on vacation this week, or we would have done it this week.
Yeah, I love it. No, those things can be powerful. Those mentor-mentee relationships like that.
Yeah, I'm glad we do it. And I think we took a year off of COVID when COVID hit, just because of obviously the social distancing and whatnot. I love the program because there's not like a set regimen and thing. I think you're going to get out of it what you put into it. And I try to communicate that just from my experience in the program. If you want to get something out of it, you got to work with one another. And I learned just as much from it as a mentor as the mentee will.
Right.
And maybe I'll get more out of it this year. You never know.
No doubt about it. Now, you mentioned the employees, if they have something they're passionate about, but BOS on the whole, you guys are involved in a lot of stuff. See your logo on a lot of different events, a lot of different things. So what are some of the high level things that you guys like to support a lot?
Well, we're always going to support our communities and the big things that are going on in the community. We're obviously going to support our customers. And so we've got a lot of non-for-profits that bank with us and partner with us. And that's what it truly is. It's not just a relationship. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
And so obviously anytime one of our customers comes to us and they've got an event, we want to be involved. And we can't always be the premier sponsor of everything.
Right.
It's pretty incredible, the requests that come in.
Oh, I would imagine you guys get a lot of asks.
And it is, but we're committed. This morning, we're sitting here downtown. We're committed to helping downtown. Obviously, with the BOS Center and the naming rights there, hopefully that commitment helps bring in more acts and things like that to downtown to help the businesses down here. We're always willing to listen and get involved in some capacity. Sometimes we'll have somebody come to us that we just can't do it this year. We've got a Champaign market, we've got a Bloomington market. We've got Quincy and Jacksonville and the St. Louis, and so we try to spread our marketing allocation out accordingly and just do what we can. And I think we talk about getting involved in my commitment. I do what I can.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on the local first board, and I'm currently serving on the United Way board, and I'm on the Lincoln Lane Community College Foundation board. Okay. And so I do what I can. And sometimes I do feel a little guilty when I can't make it to something, but then I just step back and be like, okay, I'm doing what I can.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I got to be there for my wife. I got to be there for my kids. Some of these events just aren't doable for me.
Right.
But we got a lot of employees that can help out.
Yeah, there you do. Yes, you do. So the Lincoln Land Foundation, that's one thing we haven't talked about much on the show. What all does the Lincoln Land Foundation do?
So the Lincoln Lane Community College Foundation has been around for quite a while. I'm very passionate about this. It's probably one of the favorite things that I am involved with. Matter of fact, I'm the chair of our board. We just had our gala last Saturday night. But at the end of the day, bottom line is we provide scholarships, support for the students.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, I think it's going to be, close to, we're not quite to $1 million this year, but last year, I think we were 800,000 plus. This year, it's going to probably be over 900,000. Mm-hmm. And it is, we've got a scholarship application process. So we will give close to a little bit over $900,000 away this year to students that are in some type of need. Mm-hmm. Some of these students are going to college, maybe be the first person in their family to go to college. Some of them are juggling family life and needing to start a new career. Some of them are, military service. Mm-hmm. Some of them have just been a little bit down on their luck and need to get into a workforce program. So that's our job, is to be there to support those students. And it is honestly one of the most rewarding things I've ever been a part of.
Love it. And $900,000 with as affordable as Lincoln Land is, that buys a lot of college at Lincoln Land.
Great point, because our tuition is very affordable. We're talking $1,500 to $2,000 a semester, and I would say our average scholarship is probably $2,500, and some of them go up to $5,000 or even $10,000. Mm-hmm. Some of the nursing programs and the radiography tech programs are pretty expensive programs to get into, but our donors are amazing. We've got a great staff that is always out, trying to recruit more donors. Mm-hmm. You think about that large number, and then the average scholarship is $2,500 to $3,000. That's a lot of students.
Yeah,
a lot of students that we're helping. And I'm part of our scholarship review team. And I think we had over 500 plus applications last year. So we're helping, about half of them. I mean, I think half of them, and some of them put a lot more effort into the application
Sure.
process, but reading their testimony, if you will, or their essay. Oh my gosh, it tugs on the heartstrings.
It does, doesn't it?
And so
Yeah.
I will stay involved with the foundation and that college as long as I'm breathing.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
very
Now,
passionate about it.
I haven't been a part of that, but I've been on a part of a lot of different scholarship committees and everything. And you're
Yeah.
right, reading some of those applications,
Yeah.
it does tugs at the heartstrings, man.
It sure does. And so, yeah, we got a lot of good things going on out there. And I know you're involved with CACC, and a lot of kids are doing some work out there to join the workforce immediately after they're done. But Lincoln Land is that next step. And I'm sure you see a lot of students take that jump.
We do.
And it's just great. It's
Yeah.
great to be a part of.
Absolutely. Outside of these associations and the coaching and stuff, is there anything else you do personally to elevate your life?
Wow. I love to coach my kids.
Uh.
I'm currently doing coach pitch baseball, softball, and then basketball has come to an end. But I actually think I love basketball the best.
Really?
because it's not something that I was great at. So it's something that I have to work a little harder to learn some drills and
Sure.
some plays. Baseball comes easy.
Uh-huh.
Softball comes easy. I can teach that stuff all day long, come up with a plan. But basketball, I actually got to do a little research.
Right,
I
right.
got to elevate myself to be a better coach when it comes to basketball. But I got intensity. I've got enthusiasm. I've got the will to make these girls better, and then eventually my son. I think I told you, I wake up every day just trying to be the best version of myself. Every day is different, which I love. I don't have a set regimen of things that I have to do at the bank every day. So we'll see what today brings.
There you go. Well, I mean, you traveled around a lot playing baseball and the whole thing. What's one of your favorite things about Springfield, Illinois?
Oh my gosh, the people. I mean, this is truly one of the best communities. And again, all the different communities that I've been in. I mean, I started in Salem, Oregon when my first team that I played for, Hagerstown, Maryland, San Jose, California, Norwich, Connecticut, Fresno, California, Sacramento, California, New Orleans, Charlotte, North Carolina. These were my home teams that I was based out of. This community blows those all away. And it's because I do know a lot of people. But one thing that I always did as a player is I would get involved in the community. I wasn't just a guy that was showing up, catching, going back and sleeping and just doing it all over again. There was always a way for the players to get involved in the community. And there are some great communities out there, don't get me wrong. But, and I even got some awards sitting in a box somewhere at home for community engagement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, within the community. So that's something that I'm passionate about. But Springfield, the people here, they work together, they care. We've got our problems, we've got issues, but when something happens, the way this community comes together, it's just amazing. And family. This is where I'm from. This is where my family's at. So I'm not going anywhere.
There you go. Any advice maybe for young athletes out there that maybe want to follow in your footsteps and make it to the league? Any advice for them?
You don't ever want to have any regrets for not putting in the work. Put in the time, put in the work. If you're fortunate enough to have the resources to get private lessons and things like that, which not everybody has, but with the internet now and all the stuff that's out there, I mean, there's resources out there for you to get some instructions. If you want it bad enough, go for it, and not everybody is blessed with just God-given talent. I was. I firmly believe that. My dad, God rest his soul, was not the best athlete. He was not. I don't even know that he had one athletic bone in his body.
Really?
I know. Now my mother, yes.
Okay.
So, but I still think that my brother and I both were blessed, a little genetics there, but blessed with just some God-given talent. And we worked at it. I remember Jason and I had a paper route when we were in high school to make a little money. I don't even know if kids do paper routes anymore.
I don't know if they do
that
that, but I had one too growing up. Yep.
It was kind of a dying resource, but we would roll our papers every morning and then we would run our paper route. And see how fast we could get it done. I mean, it was conditioning for us. We were throwing papers like a baseball. And I still, that was our work ethic. That was the kind of work ethic we had. And then we went straight to practice over at Springfield High School afterwards. So
funny you say that. My little brother and I did the same thing.
Did you really?
We'd have a competition. See who can hit their route quickest and come back. And
we had a double route. It was an equal amount of papers. And so we would run. And so it was just fun. So put in the work. Put in the work.
Love it. I had to do a pod with my daughter here on Tuesdays, and we talked about that. And I said, yeah, my first job was actually a paper route, and she's like, huh?
Yeah.
Like paper route.
You know
we
what?
walked papers around or ran papers around.
We still joke to this day. So the best athlete in our family is probably our younger brother, Joe. And I don't know if you've ever met my younger brother, Joe, but he is a massive human being. I mean, he's like 6'5", 6'6". I mean, he just looks at weights and I think he could have been an NFL defensive lineman.
Okay.
Now, he didn't have the same work ethic that Jason and I had. He had the talent, had the ability, and he just, he did what he lived life the way he wanted to live it. He didn't have ambitions to go play professional baseball like I did or play in the NFL. He just wanted to play on the high school team and, maybe go play college. So he inherited the paper route. Once Jason and I went off to college, he inherited the paper route because he said he wanted to make the money, right?
Yeah.
My mom and dad ended up doing the paper route every morning. We still give him crap to this day.
I bet.
This day. Like, your paper route, Joe, or mom and dad's paper
That's
route?
That's right.
And then they still gave him the money. I'm like, this is spoiled rotten little brother.
Yeah. The old youngest child.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Well, Justin, so much great stuff today. I always like to close with these last couple of things. Let's give the audience a piece of advice, one on the personal side and one on the professional side to help them elevate their life or business.
Well, if you're really looking to elevate your life, I would say, just do what you can. There's people that have different capacities and can do more than others, whether it's in a giving capacity or a time commitment capacity. Just do what you can.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you can. That's kind of how I've been living lately. Is I do what I can. I see something out there on social media. Man, I wish I could have attended that, but I couldn't. I couldn't do it. Couldn't make it work. So just do what you can.
There you go. And professionally,
probably a little bit of the same. If you're somebody that's out there that doesn't necessarily love what you're doing, whether it's in your current role with your company, maybe you love your company, but you just want to do something different within that company, or maybe you want to do something completely, don't be afraid to do something about it. I tell kids all the time, especially, you might change your career I think the average might be 5 times in a lifetime, maybe 7. I know I saw a stat somewhere and I can't recall it, but don't be afraid to do something about it. If you're not happy, do something about it.
No doubt about it.
There's help out there. Do something about it.
Yeah. I tell students that all the time. You're going to change your mind a bunch of times,
Yeah.
Do it. So, and is there anything we can do community-wide to help all of us here elevate Springfield and the surrounding community?
Keep working together. Just work together. And again, we all try to do what we can, and I keep going back to that. But I know from a community wide, we can't be afraid to take another step forward and take some risk. We got to continue to work together, everybody as a community. It's the only way we're going to continue to sustain what we currently have and grow.
That's right. That's right. When we work together, we grow together.
Yep.
Well, appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit this morning, man.
Thanks for
fun.
having me, man. It was good to kind of reconnect. I know we bump into each other when we can.
Right.
But always happy to jump in and just let me know if you ever need anything, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate all your support over the years. And if somebody's out there, of course, they can just stop by one of your branches or head to the website or anything like that if they want to do some business with you, right?
Yep, easy to get a hold of.
Yep.
But we're BOS. And if you ever have any questions about banking, we're living in a crazy world of fraud right now. Even if you don't bank with us, reach out to us. We're happy to get you the resources that you need.
There you go. Well, thanks again for all your support over the years, brother.
You got it. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're going to let Justin get back to elevating Springfield. But for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back.
Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at sangamontreeservice.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust. Looking for personalized insurance with hometown care? David Hilst American Family Insurance Agents here to help you protect what matters most, your family, your home, and your dreams. Whether it's auto, home, life, business, David and his team are proud to serve the Springfield community with trusted advice and reliable coverage. Local service, real relationships, peace of mind. Call today or stop by their office. They can build your dream protection plan together. Call 217-726-6343.
Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hey, don't forget while you're out on social, check ours out. You can check my personal one out at Robert Farrell, at everywhere. Check out those Elevate Springfield pages, those Big Dog Business Coaching pages as well. Check us out over on YouTube. Give us a subscribe, give us a like or a follow on any of those channels. We would certainly appreciate it. So hey, take what you learned today. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. Be great.
When I first walked into Shudokan Karate Club, I was just looking for a way to get stronger, but what I found was so much more. Here we train in traditional karate, the real stuff, passed down through generations. Every punch, every kata has purpose. I've learned self-discipline, confidence, and how to protect myself. Not just in class, but in real life. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being prepared. This is more than a club, it's a way of life. Join us at Shudokan, traditional, powerful, real. Ki-ai!